used to say about it that it would, we should have been shot before we were allowed to do it, or
Paul, especially over the years, who said they just think it's a pile of rubbish and something they shouldn't have done. You have very conflicting viewpoints on music from the Elder. Your take on the record in retrospect?
Well, I used to say about it that it would, we should have been shot before we were allowed to do it, or I was very denigrating, but I hadn't listened to it in forever. I hadn't listened to it since way, way, way back. So they were doing a book about it, the authors of which are on my permanent personal shit list for the rest of their lives, because they got me into such hot water with Paul Stanley that he and I don't talk to each other anymore, which breaks my heart. But
over what exactly? What did they say that was erroneous that you wrote in the book?
It's not in the book, and it was a sort of off the record remark at a time when I was sort of pissed off about Paul's biography and some of the stuff he was saying about Gene, and anyway, it got back to him, and that was the end of that. But
he's a sensitive man, I know firsthand.
He's a very sensitive man. But in the process of talking to these people, they were playing the songs to me again. I hadn't heard them in so long, and there are really brilliant musical moments on that record. There are also cringeworthy, embarrassing moments, particularly for Paul. I feel the worst for Paul after listening back to the record, because he was forced into a position where he had to be almost operatic. And in a way, it's almost, this was a little bit of foreshadow for him doing the Phantom of the Opera, by the way. The Paul Stanley, who played the Phantom, up here, he did 9 months as the Phantom of the Opera in Toronto, and sold out the whole run. He was amazing. He was brilliant. But that was the same guy who sang on The Elder. It was a very operatic, musical theater voice and so on. It just didn't belong. And it didn't belong to Kiss. And I think it must have put him in a terrible position. But it wasn't like we forced him. He bought into the concept. So did Gene. We were all really into the concept except for Ace, who felt it was not rock, it wasn't right, and he didn't really want to have much to do with it. And anyway, at the end of the day,
Eric Carr's a brand new guy at that point, so he doesn't have a voice.
He was a brand new guy, but he loved what he was playing. So look, you go back, and there are some, as I say, there are some moments on there when they were playing stuff for me, I was listening and going, wow, that's sophisticated. That's really amazing music. And then every once in a while I was saying, oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah. In the interest of time moving forward, I want to just hit a few other things. We'll go to a break. The phones are jammed. We'll let you fire away at Bob Ezrin as well. You would do one more album with Kiss, which was Revenge, which is heralded by many as a great record. Many do love that record. Fans do. The band themselves have put that. A lot of times when I read interviews with Gene or Paul, they ask about the 3 definitive Kiss records, and you produced 2 of them, which would be Destroyer. They cite Revenge, and also Creatures of the Night, which you were not involved in. But Revenge, a better experience for you? Was it getting back to more of a meat and potatoes approach for Kiss? Yeah,
well, listen, Revenge came out of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, where we got back together to do God Gave Rock and Roll to You, and that, just being in the studio doing that reminded us that we actually love each other, and the Elder aside, we should be working together, and we should be in the studio together. So then we did the album, and because the makeup was off, and the album, it was a Kiss album, but it was a Kiss rock album, like really
heavy rock,
rock, and I love heavy rock. I mean, that's what moves me more than anything, except for maybe heavy metal classical, which I love.
With 2 cellos you did, right?
Yeah, that's not heavy metal classical. When I'm talking about things like
real classical pieces, right?
Some of that stuff is the heaviest of heavy,
right?
But so I really loved doing the record, and we had some great songs. But for me, the highlight of the record was knowing that the #1 song in strip clubs across America,
"Take It Off,"
was Take It Off, and #2 was Domino. So I had 1 and 2 on the strip club top 10.
Didn't Kane Roberts co-write "Take It Off"? I think he did.
Did he? I don't remember.
Yeah, I believe he did, because I just met Kane for the first time recently, but I think he did. All right, so again, we can go to Kiss, we can go to Alice Cooper, we can go to any of the amazing records. As I mentioned before, the list goes on and on with Bob and some of the. I realize.